Hello. So hopefully you have had a chance to watch the movie, which was your assignment the last time we met. And we are going to talk today about the differences between the movie and the Book of Wonder. Because we've been talking so much about characterization, about characters, we are first going to address, and mostly going to address, the characterization of the book versus the characterization of the movie. We're going to jump right in. We're going to start with August, or Augie. So at the beginning of the book, we know that he was entering this school and he's the protagonist, the hero of our story. And there are a lot of similarities, of course, between August in the book and August in the movie. But what I'm really looking for is I want to know if you noticed any differences. And I'm not going to get into it too much, but I wanted to just give a couple of hints for each of the characters that I'm going to be talking about. And for August, the thing that I wanted to address was, how is his appearance different in the movie? So we know that in a movie, they are bound by what they can create with prosthetics or makeup. They can't just, they could, I guess, with computer animation, but in a situation like this, they're actually putting makeup on a person, and so they're sort of limited by where his actual nose is and where his actual ear is. And so trying to make him look as Augie was described in the book would be quite a bit of a challenge. And so there were a couple things that I noticed that were different. One of the things that I noticed is that he could smile in the movie, and in the book he was not able to smile. And that's just one example. There are several different things that were different. Okay, Via. So she is the big sister, of course, and I'm going to be honest, I had a hard time finding some differences with her and in the book and in the movie. But something that I thought was interesting was just how they portrayed some of the conversations that she has with Augie, some of the conversations she has with her parents, and most notably to me, Daisy's death. So their dog passes away during the book, and the dog was actually quite a fixture in the book, not so much in a movie, again, probably because they were bound by working with animals. They can't have the dog do everything that she would have done in the book. In the movie, it just wouldn't work out. And so also they just don't have the time. And so I think Daisy the storyline was made a little bit less important in the movie than it was in the book. Summer there was quite a bit of differences with Summer in the movie versus the book. So my big question was, who was the first person to sit with Augie in the book? And of course we know that that was Summer. He was sitting by himself. Jack was still hanging out with Julian and the other boys, and Summer came over and started sitting with Augie from the very first day, and they became good friends, and she was, again, a bigger fixture in the book. In the movie, she didn't come sit by Augie until after the Halloween incident, and so I wonder why they decided to change that. There's probably a lot of different reasons, but that's the difference between the book and the movie in this case. Okay, the storyline of Jack was pretty similar, I thought. One of the things that I thought was really, really different was the nature preserve storyline. They're out in the fresh air enjoying a movie, a drive-in movie essentially, and they have to go to the bathroom, and there's a huge line, and so they decide to go into the woods. And I think, if I remember right, it was dark, and then they came across the boys that were getting ready to, I guess, beat him up or whatever. They were making fun of Augie, And one of my favorite parts in the book was not in the movie, and that is when Amos basically comes out of nowhere and just attacks the kid from the other school. And then they just laugh and they think that's hilarious and they're just good friends automatically. And in the movie, they were bound again. You know, you can't really have a pitch black scene in a movie. And I don't know, I'm not really sure why they changed it, but it was a little different. So, you know, these are some differences that happen in the movie versus the book. So Justin, I think the big question, even if you just look at the picture from the book, it's a very different appearance. And the question is, and I think this is really the question when you're comparing a book and a movie, is just why do you think they made that decision? And I'm not sure that that question can be answered by us. We'd probably have to ask the producers, but it's interesting to think about why would they change that? And then Miranda. Her storyline stayed pretty true to the book. The only thing I would say is that there was another best friend, and they just took her right on out. She just wasn't even in the movie. And they're just bound to they have different things that they need to stick to in a movie to make it all cohesive, because there's a lot of information in a book that you can't fit in a movie. Okay, so some of the other characters. The mom, the dad, Mr. Tushman, Julian. There were, you know, subtle differences. What about their appearances? Did their appearances stay true to the book? If not, why do you think they changed it? Which one do you think fits better? There's always a reason for the change. I mean, they could have dyed Dad's hair dark. I don't know, maybe he was blonde. I don't remember exactly what the character was, but I do know that Mom was exotic and she had dark hair, and Julia Roberts doesn't really fit those qualities. So what was the motivation? Okay, so just some other ideas. There were a few things that I wanted to point out. The astronaut helmet was a very different story. The photoshopped picture was a little bit different. Augie and Miranda, after the play, they cut out the part where Augie is lost. Jack's mom and Augie's parents and the relationship that they developed. They completely cut out the hearing aids. Never said anything about that. They didn't talk anything about the puppy after Daisy passes away. So something to think about before we talk about our assignment. In what ways was the movie different? So there's lots of ways. Why do you think the producers of the movie chose to change it that way? And what do you think was better in the movie, and what do you think was better in the book? So these are things that you need to be thinking about for your next assignment. So here's your assignment. Okay, so we're going to have a debate. You're going to divide into two groups. We're going to have you either argue for or against the following statement. The movie did a better job of telling the story of wonder. So either you agree with that statement or you disagree with that statement. So I want you to gather evidence with your group today in class, and then you will all be required to write a short individual persuasive essay, just 100 to 200 words. It doesn't need to be super long, arguing your side. And then this assignment will be due next class, and I will have some of you share your assignments, and we can discuss a little more the difference between the movie and the book and why we think they made those differences. So let's divide and get to work. Thank you.